J-Law with a beautiful belly-to-back suplex, and Doink the Clown can't get up. The clown is down. The clown is down, as Rene Goulet once said. No Hard Feelings was written and directed by Gene Stupnitsky, who did Good Boys. And oh boy, that should have tipped me off about how this movie would have been, because I did not really care for Good Boys at all. A decent concept, and yeah. Anyway, it was also written by John Phillips, not John Philip Law, because, well, if John Philip Law was writing this movie, many people would have said, John Philip Law, what are you doing here? You've been dead for a number of years. If you know the name John Philip Law, see, I can throw my laugh. Deep, deep cut for MST3K fans. But John Phillips wrote Dirty Grandpa. So yeah, that's the kind of talent we've got for this movie. Starring Jennifer Lawrence as Maddie, who is struggling through life. Now, some things have happened that nobody should have to go through. She's had some circumstances that kind of set her on a certain path. She's had family issues. She's working at a bar, on the beach, trying to make ends meet. She's an Uber driver, but through a variety of circumstances, such as run-ins with the law and certain things. And you see this stuff in the trailer, by the way, so I am going to spoil it just in case you haven't seen the trailer. She gets her car towed by somebody that turns out to actually be a former fling of hers, because she goes through various flings without having any commitment. We can find out why. She has commitment issues, and now she's an Uber driver without any goddamn car. So then, while talking to a couple friends, played by Natalie Morales and Scott MacArthur, hey, let's look at the personal ads. Oh, here's an ad where if you date this 19-year-old boy, these parents want you to date their 19-year-old boy, and you get him to come out of his shell before he goes off to college. No, really, that is the Craigslist ad. You can get a refurbished Buick, and you can continue your goddamn education and everything, because it's actually for a girl that's in her early to mid-20s, and Jennifer Lawrence, playing true to life because she's in her early 30s, is not in her mid to even early 20s. So she plays it off, and she decides to take this, and Percy, Andrew Barth Feldman, who actually put off going to Harvard to do this movie, according to IMDb, he has his own things that he's gone through. He's a rich boy, but even though he has all the money in the world, he feels like a lonely boy. Okay, I can't really rhyme that Gwen Stefani song, but nevertheless, through a variety of circumstances, without Percy actually knowing about this stuff, because the parents want him to come out of his shell, so it's like, yeah, it turns out you're not actually this age, you're just over 30, fine, go ahead and slob our boy, and then you'll get this, you'll get this car, and you can do whatever and everything. We don't care. The fuck kind of parents are these people? Matthew Broderick and Lauren Benanti, by the way, who is beautiful. Matthew Broderick looking unrecognizable, like Bueller. Yeah, you get it. Nevertheless, from there we have an alleged comedy that has one funny scene I will talk about in the spoilers. If you've seen the trailer, you probably can gather which scene is the funny one. But from there, we have a comedy that feels disappointingly less raunchy, even though I don't mind comedies that have a little raunch and just try to maybe have some good humor. Otherwise, I'm not talking about the ice cream. This is disappointingly safe and also greatly generic. This is like if you mixed Failure to Launch, a little bit of raunchiness, and a bunch of stuff, and Human Centipede it together, and then put the most generic, bland bullshit in a blender, and then served it to people, you would have no hard feelings. If I'm not tipping you off as to how I felt about this, outside of one scene, I hated this movie. This was terrible. I went to a very early showing in Linwood, Washington, which is about 30 miles south of me, because the soonest any theater was playing it around here was around 1 or 1:30. And I'm like, to hell with it. I'll wake up. Who needs sleep? Sleep is for the weak. And I went and watched that. And there were maybe 10 other people there. Very nice theater, by the way. Highly recommend the Regal Alderwood 7 for anybody that actually happens to be watching this in the Washington State area, the entire tri-state area. I am really trying hard here because there is almost no plot to this. There is almost nothing that you can't see coming a mile away. And while Jennifer Lawrence at times can flex her comedic skills, it feels like they're wasted here. Andrew Barth Feldman, he's fine. He's fine. He's a he's a boy that has to come out of his shell and everything, and we find out why he doesn't come out of his shell and all this stuff and everything. And oh, you feel so bad for everybody. No, you fucking don't. I only feel bad for anybody that decided to spend money on this, because this was disappointingly safe and bad and not very good, and the plot made me question as to how Matthew Broderick and Lauren Benanti ever became parents, because who the fuck would do this? Now, yeah, maybe I'm putting too much thought into this comedy, but from the very beginning, and besides that one particular scene that I'll talk about in the spoilers, I'm just like, I'm waiting to laugh. I'm waiting to laugh. And I wasn't going in to hate this movie. I didn't have very high expectations when I saw this trailer. And I saw a lot of goddamn trailers, because I've seen a lot of movies. This and Strays, which is another trailer that I saw before No Hard Feelings. And I really don't want to watch Strays. I really don't, because I despise Will Ferrell. But nevertheless, this doesn't have Will Ferrell in it. This just basically is along a baseline and feels like it's back from the early 2000s or even the late 90s. But not as good as those, because it wasn't done to death by then. Even though studios were starting to churn out that shit, it still didn't feel totally done to death. There was still some fresh energy to them. This felt like you could have put Jennifer Lopez in the goddamn thing, but that would have been even worse, because even though Jennifer Lopez looks very good for her age, she is about 20 years older than Jennifer Lawrence. Also, Jennifer Lawrence actually is an actress, can actually act, has proven she can act, and actually can sing. J-Lo can't do any of that. Yeah, hilarity ensues, end quotes, is what I put there, and it's not good. None of the comedy hits. None of the sweet moments really hit. There is one cool part referencing Hall & Oates' Man-Eater that actually I think would have been fine in another movie. But certain scenes worked, but they didn't belong in a movie this generic and this bland. That's really what it is. It's just totally goddamn bland, and a lot of the comedy also was spoiled in the trailer. So if you haven't seen the trailer, then maybe you'll find some of this funny. I mean, but then again, if you find this funny, and that's fine if you do, if people really find this rip-roaringly hilarious, I think you probably need to check out some other comedies, because this was very much a baseline of, oh, we just do this. Check, 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 check. Oh, we need this shocking reveal, and then we need this to wrap up the ending. That's all you get for No Hard Feelings. There really isn't anything else to this, except you get to look at Jennifer Lawrence for a while. That's not a bad thing. Jennifer Lawrence is a beautiful woman, but that's not enough to carry a goddamn movie. It's really goddamn not. I'm going to get into spoilers. This is in theaters. I do not imagine this will be in theaters very long. This feels almost like they should have released it in September, and it might have done better at the box office. Because you got this and Asteroid City coming out the same day. I'm not watching Asteroid City, by the way. Anyway, let's get into spoilers. Jennifer Lawrence is great. Everything else, shit. Spoilers. Okay. So the funny scene that I'm talking about was on the beach, where she gets the boy to skinny dip with her. And these drunk people show up and steal their clothes. And Jennifer Lawrence decides, I'm fucking done with this. She gets out, full frontal, absolutely naked. And belly back suplexes one guy, and then scares one. She looked great. That was that. Had the movie been more bonkers like that, I might have actually enjoyed it more. I would have at least been interested. Not saying that Jennifer Lawrence needed to be full frontal for more of the movie. I wouldn't have complained, but nevertheless, if it had been a little more bonkers, I think it would have been better. Joyride is coming out in a couple weeks, I'll be watching. That one really looks like it's going to be bonkers. Maybe a little too gross. Nevertheless, Jennifer Lawrence has had relationship issues. Her dad is rich, paid off the mother, and didn't want anything to do with Jennifer Lawrence's Maddie. And Percy also deals with the fact that his parents have overshadowed him, and they've tried to take care of him, but basically he got bullied in school, and then, this bully was no longer there in school. They didn't kill him, as hilarious as that would have been. They got him expelled. They basically track his phone. They've taken care of him, and they care about him, but they're trying to slog him off and, pimp him out, basically, because they want him to come out of his shell. Instead of letting that happen organically, they let this happen. There's drinking. There's an attempt at a sweet romance despite the age difference, but then again, given the age difference of some of my flings, I probably shouldn't say anything. That's all I'm going to say. Let's say the 32 and 19 year age, or the 32 and 19 year, window here is not far off from a couple flings that I had. But nevertheless, enough about that. the movie just doesn't click. It doesn't click at all. Besides that beach scene, none of the drinking, none of the, attempts at romance. The man-eater part where he's playing the piano actually was kind of cool. Had that been in a romantic comedy and not in something that was so generic, I might have been okay with it. But the problem with the movie is it starts with an overarching thing, or with the guy towing her car off, and then it turns out that's an old fling, and then the whole thing is the guy comes out in a Speedo or his briefs and grabs her tits. And he's my cousin. He's my second cousin. It's from Italy. Haven't you ever been to Italy? And the problem is Jennifer Lawrence can't flex her comedic muscles enough in this and can't save something from being this bad. It is really, really bad. And the whole reveal of Percy gets in the Tesla. Maddie is talking to the parents, and she's been trying to, get where she dates him hard. I'll date his brains out. Wish she'd date my brains out, but that's another story. He hears on the Tesla, since it's hooked up with Bluetooth, oh, she just wanted the car. So he gets his friend from this animal shelter, or coworker, and they wreck the Buick. And now she's got the Buick because it was signed over, but now it's all damaged. And she's been trying to save her mom's house. She saves her mom's house while having this vehicle and saving up all this money. And then there's this real estate guy that is going to save her, or save her the grief and sell off the property and sell off the house. Well, what she decides to do, even though it's her mom's house, she doesn't want to leave, but realizes she needs to go break out on her own. And then Percy's going to go to Princeton and do his stuff. And they do eventually come back together through a variety of circumstances. There was one funny part after the beach scene where she tries to leave and he's naked on the goddamn hood, and she races past this train while these cops are chasing her. And then they recreate that later with a beach scene where she's on there, and they get on the road from Princeton and end up on the beach. The car ends up getting wrecked. He ends up, apologizing to her. And then she apologizes to the tow truck driver, fling boyfriend thing, and she had a pregnant friend and her significant other. She sells the house to them so they don't have to move and they don't have to uproot their life, because now she is free to do what she wants any old time. And then she takes a rescue dog that was a former drug-sniffing dog. If you say the word cocaine, it starts to bark, because comedy, am I right? And that was from earlier at the animal shelter that Percy volunteered for. This movie wasn't good, besides that beach scene. F. It gets an F. It's not good. It's not very fucking goddamn good. Yeah. No hard feelings. No good comedy. And there was no hard feelings, or it should have been called No Feelings, because I didn't feel shit while watching this. Anyway, except watching Jennifer Lawrence full frontal belly-to-back suplex a guy. That was nice. More of that, please. So, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.